The Pittsburgh Penguins beat the Florida Panthers 5-3 at Amerant Bank Arena. I am Dan Kingerski on the Pittsburgh Hockey Now platforms. No, we're not at the arena. They have a giant concert on Friday in Florida, so they literally were ripping down the arena as soon as the game ended. We tried to do the video at the barn, but no dice there, so we're doing it back at the hotel. Actually, in full honesty, it's about 3 o'clock in the morning because we had to have a sports writers meeting. Well, we didn't really have to, but it was a lot of fun. So the Penguins win 5-3. They're 6-2. That's winning 6 of 8, if you want to phrase it a different way. Tristan Jarry, brilliant. 34 of 37. His third period performance. And we're going to dive into this towards, later in the video. Spectacular. The Penguins had 4 different 2-goal leads. They led 2-0, 3-1, 4-2, and 5-3. Now, at no point, once they got the 2-goal lead, I think this is really an important part of the game story. Also, the Penguins' season story. The story of these Penguins, the main themes and the ideas. Florida never got the tying goal. Florida pressured. Oh, did Florida pound on the Penguins? The shots, 37-16. Yeah, I had all of the shot statistics, scoring chance statistics in the Pittsburgh Hockey Now report card. The attempted shots were 81-43 in favor of Florida. The scoring chances, 25-11. The high danger scoring chances, 11-6, all wildly in favor, almost at a 2-1 ratio to the Panthers. So why didn't they win? How did the Pittsburgh Penguins, who are supposed to be a lottery team, not just a lottery team, top 5, top 8 sort of team, how did that team win their sixth game in 8 games and beat the 2-time defending Stanley Cup champion Panthers? Yes, Florida is without Alexander Barkov. Florida is without Matthew Tkachuk. Sure. In discussing the Panthers game with some of the Florida folks, George Richards of Florida Hockey Now specifically, George said the second and third period were the first time this season that Florida looked like Florida. Their forecheck, it absolutely must have looked like a mile-high tsunami coming at the Penguins' defense. They got the puck in deep. Now, we've talked about in different videos and in print on Pittsburgh Hockey Now, where the Penguins' defensemen are still learning, are still adjusting and kind of adapting to the new breakout routes and roles where everybody is going to be. So Florida clearly took advantage of that. In addition to getting the puck deep and forechecking the daylights out of the Penguins, they also had all the routes covered. There were a couple of times where Penguins defensemen stayed behind the net for what seemed like an eternity, trying to figure out, what do we do? Where do we go? Both times did not work out very well for the Penguins. Having said all of that, the Penguins outshot, outchanced, well out-hit despite not having the puck. They win. So here's how they did it. It might sound stupid, cliche, overly simplistic. They really did it with a big dose of heart. They got some goals, but they did not fold when the crowd was raucous and Florida was surging. They didn't buckle as they would have or they could have tonight. When Florida was just all over them, they looked for opportunity. The Penguins also defended just well enough. I'm not saying they defended well, although the statistics sort of speak to that a bit anyway, keeping Florida to 3 goals despite 25 scoring chances. Tristan Jarry. Again, put a little pin in that. The Penguins didn't lose their cool, lose their poise, lose their marbles, lose other things. They attacked when the opportunity was there. I mean, talking with Sidney Crosby after the game. You know, we go by Sid, and he goes by, hey. He admitted that, yeah, I like to control parts of the game more, but he thought they did defend well and they were opportunistic. So all of that kind of baked in. The Penguins got offense, clutch offense, big goals from Ben Kindle. That one-timer he worked with Tommy Novak, if you watch the replay, Kindle dishes, finds the open seam. He's got the stick. He's got it cocked, and he's like, let's go, feed me. And to his credit, Tommy Novak didn't waste time. Right back to Kindle. Connor Dewar gets a huge goal. 1-on-2, throws an off-speed pitch to the goalie, Sergei Bobrovsky. It was really, of the 5 goals the Penguins scored, Connor Dewar's was the cheapie, but because it was kind of an awkward, excuse me, oh, I didn't mean to shoot it, sort of shot. Bobrovsky is out of sorts when he tries to make the save, and essentially his stick became a ramp over his own pad. And Sidney Crosby gets a power play goal. The Penguins had a pair of power play goals, both by Sidney Crosby on Thursday, and coming into the game, they were already at 26%. A couple of power play goals certainly will help that. The Penguins in 2017-18 did, in fact, set the franchise record at 26.2%. So the Penguins are right on that, right on the track for a franchise record. It all sounds surreal, doesn't it? There were some good performances. Ben Kindle. Yeah, we talked about his one-timer, but this was the game. Playing a team that is deep, it's heavy, it's angry, tough to play against. Ben Kindle held his own, scores a big goal. Late in the game, wins a big face-off, clears the puck. That was that whole icing confusion. A few minutes to go in the game, couple minutes to go in the game. The Penguins wanted Sidney Crosby on the dot, but they couldn't get him there because of icing. So Kindle wins the face-off, clears the puck. That's as big of a play. That's as big as a goal because Florida is just on the go. Ben Kindle played well. Erik Karlsson was really good on Thursday. Hear me out. He was a bit conservative, but he was on track. He was on the right tracks, making smart and simple plays, pushing the puck forward. No mistakes. Didn't get burned for anything. So in the report card, we gave Parker, Wotherspoon, and Karlsson, that defensive pair, a B. They got a B only because, well, they were also part of the Penguins team that was hemmed in the defensive zone. Parker Wotherspoon, by the way, he wanted to see some of your memes after he went flying headfirst into that scrum. A little behind the scenes, he didn't know he did that. He's like, oh, geez, I must have had too much pre-workout before the game. I got too excited. He didn't know that his teammates were actually telling him, and I'm sure making fun of him. He got air. End of the first period, Brian Rust has been knocked down in the scrum. He's getting some mitts to the lid. And Wotherspoon bolts over, flies into the scrum, gets air, like literally off his feet. He asked me to see the memes, and I'm like, oh, I didn't save them. I didn't have them handy. His teammates were like, yeah, you got air, you got air. That's the sort of interesting dynamic developing within the Penguins. They've got heart. They've got energy. That whole vibe Chris Letang talked about on Tuesday, that's part of it. There were some other good performances, but I think the chief performance, Tristan Jarry. Tristan Jarry was absolutely spectacular in the third period. I don't mean good, I don't mean great, I mean spectacular. Yeah, he only stopped 16 of 18 shots in the period. Only. The saves he made on Anton Lundell, he made at least a couple. Brilliant little flipper saves, toe saves, glove saves. He was as good as I've ever seen him play on Thursday. Now, here's why it is important and worth discussing. Because he did it in the third period with the game on the line. Jarry didn't just hold the line against Florida. He stole 2 points. That is, in unto itself, I think worth mentioning, worth talking about, and certainly praiseworthy. To do that, the Penguins should have lost 8, 9, 20 to 5. Actually, let's call it 3 or 4. But they don't ask how you won, only if you did. And Jarry was just really, really good. So that is the post game. Since it is 3 o'clock in the morning, and I had a 6 a.m. flight, yes, I've essentially now been up for 24 hours. I don't know. How do I look? Like Frankenstein's monster, I'm sure. So, the Penguins have off on Friday. I've got a couple of columns planned. I don't fly out of Fort Lauderdale until the afternoon. If they're going to let me out, the airline I'm flying on actually was like, hey, we're overbooked. Would you mind terribly much giving up your seat? So I named my price. I'm not a cheap date. So we'll see if I get out and get back to Pittsburgh in a timely fashion, or if I'm about to have one of those Mr. Bean episodes where I show up to the airport, I find out they have bumped me, I wind up in a lounge, I wind up getting flown to 5 different cities, only to be shuttled to Pittsburgh when they remember what they've done to me. That's door number 2. I appreciate y'all. Do me a favor, like, subscribe, and criticize, comment, whatever you feel the need to do. So that is it from, now I'm in Fort Lauderdale, technically, but from Sunrise, where the Penguins win 5-3, I'm Dan Kingerski. Have fun.